Every day on this channel, I go through everything Elon said on X in the last 24 hours. And here's how many times Elon posted about each subject today. I'll go over everything he said about each topic before moving on to the next one. Starting with Tesla, here's some car-shaped robots. And Elon quoted that saying, exactly. So let's see what he means by car-shaped robots. Chris says, I don't see enough people talking about this. This is a Tesla on FSD beta autonomously navigating a McDonald's drive-thru. But that's not the mind-blowing part. The car understands the entire social sequence. It knows to stop at the ordering station. It knows when the order is complete and autonomously pulls forward. And at the final window, it leaves the exact moment his card is returned, not when the food is handed over. It's not just following a path, it's recognizing that the transaction is finished. Seriously, Tesla AI, how does this work? Is it parsing audio cues, recognizing specific handoffs with visions? We would like to know.
Thank you, you too. Oh my gosh, I didn't roll up the window or anything. How does it know? What the hell's going on in this place?
So Elon replied to that saying, this is not even its final form. Farzad says the number of videos of FSD v14.1 doing complex maneuvers is actually blowing my mind. What is it going to look like next year? And Elon reposted that. Mr. Patel said, is there a good write-up of why self-driving cars took over a decade from working demo rides to being deployed at scale? Farzad replied, self-driving at scale is only really solvable using AI. Too many nuances, heuristics, and complex sensors were way too difficult. The only real way is vision only plus AI. Compare Tesla versus Waymo's strategy and it'll paint the picture. And Elon said, yeah. And Sawyer released a review of his first impressions of the new standard models released by Tesla. It's a pretty laid back review, and he used FSD most of the time, and Elon reposted it. And Tesla Chief of Design says, Model S in Time's top 25 inventions of the past 25 years. Congrats to the Tesla team. So Tesla quoted that saying the Model S showed the world what an electric car could be, and Elon reposted that. And every Tesla is designed for minimal maintenance, and you can quickly perform many of them on your own. All service manuals are free and available at service.tesla.com, alongside additional resources like DIY tutorials. Plus, all Teslas ship with a free diagnostics tool on the touchscreen, and Elon reposted this. And speaking of maintenance, Sarah is a maintenance technician at Tesla. And at Tesla, they reward talent and dedication with an opportunity to earn equity that can change your life. So this video goes over how Sarah earned Tesla stock to help provide for her family and to support Tesla's mission and enable them to continue delivering value and opportunity to the people who drive their success. Vote with the board's recommendation on all proposals at this year's annual meeting. And Elon reposted this. And 2.2 gigawatt hours of megapacks are operating at New and Collie Battery, supporting Western Australia's transition from coal to more sustainable and resilient energy sources. And Elon reposted this one as well. And finally, someone added Godzilla to an image of 3D buildings in the Tesla FSD maps. And of course, Elon responds to that with a robotic arm. And today, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang spoke about NVIDIA's investment in XAI.
Well, XAI, I'm super excited about the financing opportunity that they're doing. You know, the only regret I have about XAI, we're an investor already. The only regret I have is I didn't give him more money. You know, almost everything that Elon's part of, you really want to be part of as well. And he gave us the opportunity to invest in XAI. I'm just delighted by that. And so that's an investment into a really great future company, and I'm really excited about that. That's not vendor financing per se.
And so Elon responded to that with a heart. And Matt Walsh says it's weird that we can all clearly see how AI is about to wipe out millions of jobs all at once, destroy every artistic field, and make it impossible for us to discern reality from fiction, and destroy human civilization as we know it, and yet not one single thing is being done to stop it. We aren't putting up any fight whatsoever. So Elon replied saying, I'm not sure what to do about it. I've been warning the world for ages. Best I can do now is try to make sure that at least one AI is truth-seeking and not a super woke nanny with an iron fist that wants to turn everyone into diverse women, tagging Grok. And Matt Walsh has more concerns. He says within the next year or two, probably sooner, anyone who hates you will be able to generate any kind of defamatory video of you doing or saying something awful. And it will be so indistinguishable from a real video that you simply won't be able to prove that it's fake. Literally nothing is being done to prevent this from happening. We can all see it coming, and our leaders are doing precisely nothing at all to stop it. Elon responded to that saying, Grok will be able to analyze the video for AI signatures in the bit stream and then further research the internet to assess origin. And yesterday when Elon suggested that you give Grok your legal documents to scan them for anything you should be concerned about, his mom May said, I use Grok for all my legal documents. I receive recommendations for sentences that could be changed to benefit me or the client. And I can make a choice. I love it. And Elon reposted it. And this XAI employee is glad to see Grok's math capabilities are recognized by the math community. We are still cooking and Grok will soon be capable of proving new conjectures. So Elon said, Grok. And Grok companion Annie speaks multiple languages and can teach you one. You can learn new languages the super easy way.
Que me gusta tu voz. Me pone como una moto. Means it revs me up. Makes me want to move, like right now.
So Elon said Grok companions can teach you how to speak almost any language. And that's pretty crazy, but Nate says what's even crazier about AI is that we are still so early. And Elon says, yeah, AI will get 1 billion times smarter. And he says in a technology race, the company that innovates fastest wins. All you need are 1 billion AI chips, a terawatt of power, and 100 million robots. Not a problem at all. And Chamath quoted that saying, a reminder from Elon about the bitter lesson. The following coordination of machines and electrons will win. 1 billion AI chips, 1 terawatt of power, and 100 million robots. This is now all about capital, speed, and scale. And Elon said, yes. And this cybersecurity expert explains how hackers are using Gemini by writing hidden instructions into images.
Hackers just figured out how to hide secret instructions inside images, and Google Gemini is falling for it. When you upload an image to an AI tool, it usually gets downscaled, shrunk to save money and run faster. But researchers showed that if an image is specially crafted, that downscaling process actually reveals hidden text the human eye can't see. The AI then reads that ghost text like it's part of your instructions without you knowing. In one demo, the attack tricked Gemini into sending your Google Calendar data to a hacker's email address. This exploit worked against Gemini CLI, Vertex AI Studio, Gemini's API, even Google Assistant on Android. And the team that discovered it even released a tool called Anamorpher to easily generate these images. So how do you protect yourself? Well, be aware that prompt injection attacks are not slowing down, and they're increasingly going to target your connected services like Google Drive, Calendar, or email. So when you have the option, consider whether you want to connect those services to AI. Only upload images from trusted sources, and always double check the text you paste into a chatbot before you hit enter, because hidden commands might be writing along.
That's a good heads up, and Elon reposted it. And just a little reminder, the world's most powerful rocket ever made will fly, flight number 11, in 4 days. Stainless steel, baby, and Cybertruck is getting thrown in the mix. That's triple stainless, 2 Cybertrucks and a booster. And there goes Falcon 9 launching 28 Starlink satellites from California. And here's Don's best sighting of a Starlink satellite train from orbit. There you can see the train right there. That's breathtaking. And Richard says that Starlink saved his life. A rolled vehicle on remote logging road, big log, stopped us rolling all the way down. Me and my dogs walked out, no injuries. Got Starlink up, and 18 hours later a recovery truck showed up and got us out. Don't know what would have happened without it. Starlink said, connectivity when it matters most. And Elon's mom quoted that saying, when Elon told me he's going to launch satellites, he said it was to save lives. This is another example. How did he know? Well, he sees the future. Proud mom. And Elon responded with a heart. And engineering is magic. Aviation Week and Space Technology magazine posting this photo of the Raptor engine iterations. Reimagining manufacturing, and Elon reposted this one. And he also reposted this video of the Neuralink telepathy user experience. Looks super clean. And let's hear what Kathy Wood has to say about Elon.
I think he's the Thomas Edison of our age in terms of his innovative ingenuity. And I also think, having met him a number of times, I think he's a very good person. He wants to do the right thing. If I had to say one thing, he wants to do the right thing to transform the lot of most of humanity. And he started with Tesla, SpaceX and Tesla, Tesla, was an environmental move, which I think a lot of people attacking his cars who are probably very supportive of the environmental movement, they've forgotten. Sending a rocket to Mars and with humanoid robots and ultimately people, he thinks will transform life on Earth as well, because as we've learned from space history, what we learn about material science and technologies that help us break through into these very difficult problems to solve is going to help us here on Earth as well. So I think he's a very good person and wants to do the right thing. That if I had to describe him, that's what I say, other than genius of our time.
And Elon reposted that one. And you guys saw that Jensen clip earlier. He also said he wants to be part of almost everything that Elon Musk built. And Elon says it's nice of Jensen to say so. And Eric Trump was speaking to Piers Morgan about Elon.
We saw Elon Musk and your father briefly having a kind of rapprochement after their big falling out. I mean, has there been any development on that? Do you think they'll be back working together, or was that just a kind of after the war, a little peace offering and they move on?
Well, I was right there. I was in that same picture that you probably saw, and it was fun to see them back together. Listen, Elon represents the best of what we do as Americans better than anybody in the world, which is entrepreneurialism. And, the fact that he's catching these rockets using, these chopsticks. And, I mean, he's incredible at everything he does. We need 200 Elon Musks. I'm the biggest proponent of his and everything that he stands for. And, there's no one who's more into the Doge initiative than Eric Trump, right? Is how I run our company and is how, any capitalist, thinks. But no, I think fundamentally they love and appreciate each other. And, listen, they're two very big personalities, and you know how that is. I mean, you've been on the receiving end of that a couple times, Piers. I could probably count more.
Yeah,
I could probably count with you indeed. With you and my father, I could probably count more than a couple times. But at the same time, you guys still love each other, right? And
do you know what? It's really interesting. I was talking to someone the other day actually about the Elon Musk thing, and I said, I've had spectacular fallings out with your dad. And normally, because I've said, I've criticized him or something, and he doesn't like being criticized, but he doesn't hold the grudge for very long. He does with some people, but actually most of the time I've noticed, if you just, there'll be a moment when if you go back a long way with him, he's not a long grudge guy.
No, I think that's right. Yeah, he'll see you a month later and give you a big hug. And by the way, most of the time he's actually the first person to crack a joke about the very grudge that you had.
Yes.
3 weeks earlier. So now, listen, this country needs Elon Musk. This world needs Elon Musk. The Western civilization certainly needs him. They also need a Donald Trump, and I think those guys are a formidable team, and I think they have massive admiration and respect for one another.
And Elon responded to that clip with a heart. And moving on to wokeness, here is screenshots from 4 different TV shows and all of their very diverse casts. They really make sure to get a redhead into each of the shows. But Elon responded to this with an eyebrow. And this Nazi says, "Got you." And the victim says, "Don't shoot, I'm a Nazi too." So the Nazi says, "Prove it." And the victim says, "There are 2 genders." And the Nazi is satisfied because everyone is a Nazi, and Elon has a laugh at that one. And Mia Hughes says, "Never forget how this medical scandal began."
Back in the 1980s, a small group of trans activists hatched a plot to take an absurd, ideological, overvalued belief that being transgender is innate, natural and healthy, and force all of society to live in a fictional world built upon it. Given the sheer audacity of that plot, I find it hard to believe that there weren't voices of doubt, naysayers in the room who said it couldn't be done. But if such voices existed, they were ignored, and the activists pressed on until they succeeded in nothing less than reshaping reality itself. And they didn't just persuade people to politely look the other way. They rallied good, decent people to march in the streets, demanding that teenagers sacrifice their health, fertility, and sexual function in the name of this belief. They convinced governments to write laws based on a non-existent fictional concept. They enlisted well-meaning teachers to poison the minds of a generation with absurd lies. And they drove doctors to amputate healthy organs and call it medicine. If they could succeed, in creating that false reality, then surely we can succeed in restoring truth. Because our cause is not built on lies, but on logic and reason. Not on ideology, but on sound ethical principles. Not on harm, but on healing.
So that's where Mia finished, and then she said, my talk at GenSpec's conference in Albuquerque calls for the complete rejection of this dangerous belief. Only by restoring truth and reality can we actually protect vulnerable people from this medical crime. And Elon reposted it. And trans activist Kendall Stevens has been charged with raping 2 children. He responded to the charges by accusing a child victim of being a predator. Temple University has deleted their interview with him, and Elon responded with 2 exclamation marks. Vittorio says, an entire generation of women was taught to despise what makes them fulfilled and to worship what makes them miserable. And Elon says, yes. And THLTD says women who exercise vigorously over 5 hours weekly are over 30% less likely to conceive versus those who do 0 exercise. Women who exercise most days have more than 3 times as many fertility issues, and high-intensity exercise more than doubles fertility issues versus low. Catherine says, it's almost like every part of the culture for the last 30 years was designed to destroy the birth rate. And Elon says, bullseye. And apparently last night, the Vancouver Park Board in Canada disavowed J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling is the author of Harry Potter, if you didn't know, and she says, to be honest, I didn't even know Vancouver Parks and Recreations had avowed me, so the disavowal hasn't been much of a blow. Next time, send me a certificate of avowal, wait until I've proudly framed it, hung it over my PC and taken a selfie with it, then revoke it. And Elon has a laugh at that one. And moving on to politics, the White House releases the names funding Antifa and the protests and the violence in America.
This is not just a story about violence and chaos, as you alluded to, Mr. President. This is a money story. And at the Government Accountability Institute, my colleague and I, Peter Schweitzer and our team, we followed the money, and we followed it to the top of what we call the protest industrial complex, Riot Inc., and we found a network of NGOs. It's not just the Soros Network, the Open Society Network, it's other funding networks, the Arabella Funding Network, the Tides Funding Network, Neville Roy Singham and his network, Foreign Cash, and it's also big left-wing funders. Some of them are not citizens of this country. Mr. Hans-Jörg Wyss of Switzerland. They're pouring money into this entire ecosystem. And so I want to share 3 money facts with you about what we call Riot Inc. Number 1, like any corporation, Riot Inc. has many divisions. It doesn't just have the Antifa boots on the ground division. It has PR divisions. It has marketing divisions. It has a very well-funded legal division to get these boots on the ground back on the streets as quickly as possible. But it does have those investors that I mentioned. Number 2, we have identified dozens of radical organizations, not just the decentralized Antifa organizations, but dozens of radical organizations that have received more than $100 million from the Riot Inc. investors. These would be the lawyer groups. These would be the groups that advocate for calling good, honest Americans fascists, etc. And then 3, I think the most shocking thing is that we have found that more than $100 million in U.S. taxpayer funding has flowed into these funding networks, including at least $4 million to these very groups themselves, not just Antifa types, but there was an event in Atlanta called Stop Cop City. Over 60 rioters were charged with domestic terrorism. These groups received money for that from both the billionaire class as well as taxpayer money. So one other thing, this money helps fund the decentralized crowdfunding platforms. These are ways that Antifa, the John Brown Gun Club of Elm Fork, which had links to that attack on the ICE facility, the Socialist Rifle Association, and just because they don't have LLCs or EIN numbers doesn't mean they can't get paid. Some of these funding platforms, crowdfunding platforms, are funded by this network that we call Riot Inc. So, again, I want to thank you for your leadership, for the whole cabinet's leadership on this. We're going to keep following the money and appreciate everything you're doing, sir.
Do you know the name of any of the funders? Do you know the names? Because if you do, I'd like you to give them to Cash or Pam.
Absolutely.
Or Christy.
Yeah, we'll do that.
As soon as you can. That's all of you. Because you probably know the names after a certain period of time. You tend to find out. But these are people that do not have good intention for the country, and that's treasonous probably. So if you could, very important, if you could do that, it would be great. Nobody would know better than you. You'll figure it out.
So Elon responded to that saying it's way more than $100 million of U.S. taxpayer money. And then in the same room, journalist Nick Shirley tells Trump that he has personally been on the ground for Antifa protests in America and overseas in the UK.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, my name's Nick Shirley. I'm 23 years old. I'm a 100% independent YouTube journalist. And over the past year or so, I've been able to go to 15 countries. I've hung out with people in the gangs of Brazil, in the favelas, in the prisons of Secot. But yet the most dangerous places I have been here in the United States, unfortunately. And I've had the opportunity to show people about the protest Antifa here in the United States, and there's nothing organic about what they are doing here in the United States. I've watched people be bussed in from states. I've watched the same lady at a protest in Atlanta be bussed to the protest in DC and then in New York City. There's nothing that is honest about what they are doing. And they have signs. I've seen the same signs here in DC and in London as well. It's a big organization and corporation that they're running. And people may wonder, like, what's the threat to us as Americans if we go? Well, you'll be labeled as a fascist, you'll be labeled as a Nazi, and they'll wish death upon you because they wish death upon me. And just last week in Portland, Oregon, I watched a lady get trapped in her car, surrounded by Antifa, and her sister messaged me after seeing the video. She said, the only reason I think my sister was safe is because you were there recording. I also was chased out by a member of Antifa who said he would smoke me, and next thing he knew, a DHS sniper had lasers on his chest. If he was not there, who knows what would have happened that day. These people are very dangerous, and people wonder how they're able to do it. It's the reason is because these cities are not enforcing the law. And why should these people be worried if the law is not being enforced? And we are not far right, nor are we far wrong. We're just right. And the truth about what's happening here in America with these groups is very dangerous. And I thank you, Mr. President, and your administration as well for acknowledging that.
Thank you very much. It's too bad you have to go through it.
I know, it's
Thank
a little
you very
crazy,
much.
right, Mr. President?
Well, you're going to get to the bottom of it, so it's a very important thing you're doing. Thank you very much.
I've seen Nick Shirley's videos before. He definitely puts himself in very dangerous situations. And the last thing, or one of the things he said was, it's a big organization and corporation that they're running, as he noticed that there were the same signs in DC and in London as well. So Elon quoted it saying 100. And if you guys remember the story of Virginia Democrat Attorney General candidate Jay Jones saying he wants to shoot Republican officials and their children in private messages, new data confirms that media stations are giving 0 seconds in coverage to the story. NBC gave it 63 seconds to be fair. And this is a mainstream Democrat running for a major elected state office. So Eric says they are complicit in political violence. Virginia, do not vote for Jay Jones. Vote for Trump-endorsed Jason Miyares. Elon says, wow. And viewer discretion is advised for this next section as Elon comments on some violent situations. Another failure of the judicial system. This man has 33 prior arrests and beat a man to death by the New York City subway because the man held a door open for him. David was out of jail on a $1,000 bail for a similar assault. Who are the judges who kept letting him go free? They are complicit. David allegedly beat up a security guard in a similar assault. The guard told NYP that he begged the prosecutor not to let him free. I said, this guy's gonna do this again. You better take him off the street before he does this to someone else. They didn't listen, and now another innocent person is dead. The prosecutor needs to be held accountable. Elon said, another failure of the legal system. Grok, what happened here? And Grok has yet to respond. Well, in a different case, this judge's name is Jamie Sawyer, and he gave these 3 Epping protesters a longer sentence than a migrant rapist who sparked the disorder. The judge has a master's degree in human rights and is a dedicated Labour voter. This is in the UK. So Elon said Sawyer is a racist, referring to the judge. And back to the States, the man who was charged with shooting 2 troopers is a career criminal with an extensive record. He was previously charged with attempted murder and investigated for another. His name is Lamar Foy, and court records show that a warrant was issued for his arrest on July 11th for failing to appear in court on drug possession with intent to distribute charges. That warrant remains active. Additional 2025 charges include arson, aggravated assault, and destruction of property. And there's some more criminal history. But Baltimore police previously identified Foy as a suspect in another attempted murder investigation in 2017. So that's the criminal history of the man accused of shooting 2 troopers. This all happened yesterday, and the troopers shot back and they killed Lamar Foy. And Elon responded to all this with 2 exclamation marks. And again, 2 exclamation marks for this story of a woman who was violently raped by an illegal Haitian man with a violent history. The descriptions are quite graphic, but moral of the story is he had previous arrests for domestic violence, battery, burglary, drug offenses, and resisting arrest. And Joe Biden on urban crime in 1993 said, "We have to remove from the streets the folks born out of wedlock without any developed conscience." Mr. King said everyone talked like this in 93. Then there were laws like 3 strikes and you were out. The prison population soared and crime went down. Places like New York City became livable. Then people forgot the connection between jailing people and reducing crime, and here we are in 2025, and Elon says, bullseye. And in Austria, an Afghan migrant caregiver has been arrested for raping an 82-year-old woman. Her son witnessed it live through cameras installed in the house. But the organization that sent the Afghan caregiver rapist to the elderly woman's home did not offer any support. Moreover, they accused him of illegally filming the rape. And Elon said, what the f***? And Restore Britain has posted their mass deportation document in full. Again, that's mass deportations. Elon says this either happens or it is the end of Britain. And you know, why am I so depressed? Asks wife who listens to 8 hours of murder podcasts per day. And Elon has a laugh at that one. And on to Grok Imagine, Elon says you type add a girlfriend to pretty much any video. And that led to this dog getting a girlfriend. And Elon had a laugh at that one. And then this little chinchilla got a new girlfriend and they started just making out with each other. And Elon's feeling the love. And then Julian posted a photo of sort of like this spaceship and Elon said, add a girlfriend. And so to that, Paranoid Dream said, add a boyfriend. And then the boyfriend joined the girlfriend. And now Elon is dying on the floor laughing. And wait for it, you know, it gets even crazier. Now we're adding a horse. We're now adding horses to our Grok Imagine photos. Elon is now wheezing, he cannot breathe. And while all this is going on, Jensen is, smoking a cigarette, trying to figure out, he's buying all these chips from me just so they could add a girlfriend to some images. And Elon is still laughing. Even Will Smith eating spaghetti now has a girlfriend. And Neon is going to literally show you adding a girlfriend to this photo of Elon.
What are you thinking about, my visionary?
Man, I need to find me a girl who talks to me like that. Now it's time for your daily Grok Imagine slideshow of all the creations Elon reposted today. And finally, X-Free says tag your all-time favorite Grok Imagine video, and Elon reposted it. So that's everything that Elon said today. Based on his comments, it sounds like the AI race is far from over. The metrics he threw out that you're going to need in order to compete were very steep, if that wasn't already obvious. And XAI, you'll be able to learn new languages with Grok companions. We heard a lot of testimonies about Elon today from the likes of Kathy Wood and Eric Trump. And we also got to go right inside the White House and listen to some interesting conversations, which is really, really cool. And if you guys want early access to these daily updates, you can gain them by joining the channel as a member. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.